A hulking dragon-like monster roars and thrashes as a lone silhouette charges it in a frenzy of slash. The Night Squad desperately holds the line against monsters, shouting for everyone to endure and keep fighting until the captain returns. In the chaos of the battlefield, the captain yells for his men to get down as he draws his sword to counter the charging beast. The captain unleashes a massive sweeping attack that blows a whole swarm of monsters away in one overwhelming strike. With a fierce glare and glowing hand, the captain charges magic, while a subordinate cries out to him in alarm and a monster screech. The captain hurls a blazing fire bullet that explodes forward and engulfs two airborne monsters in searing light. A monster raises its weapon in surprise as the torrent of flames rushes toward it with a loud whoop. The captain leaps up the wall with his sword, carving through a monster in a vertical, lightning-like slash. Charred monster corpses lie strewn across the dark ground, smoking as the battle finally ends. The captain offers his hand and tells the fallen to stand, joking that ending a mission in that state would be pathetic while apologizing. Sweating and scratching his head, admits the captain is amazing for almost defeating that many monsters. The captain smiles modestly and insists it was not by his strength alone. Facing the cheering soldiers, the captain praises everyone for surviving and announces that the entire Northern Hawk Knight Order will now return home. Exhausted knights flop down and shout in joy that the mission is finally over and they can finally go home. As they walk, one knight jokes that without the captain they all would have died and that he probably cleared most monsters in the kingdom by himself, vowing to follow him forever. Another knight angrily yells back asking who would treat weaklings like them as opponents, puffing himself up. A gossiping soldier excitedly proclaims that once this subjugation is over, captain will marry the third princess of the kingdom. Other knights roar that although the wedding is not official yet, a noble with combat achievements like his is a historic first for the order. Embarrassed, the captain stomps the floor and tells them to quit it because they have not even properly held hands yet. Supporting the limping, the captain asks if he can walk as narration says they are almost back. Narration over the forest says that even this hellish land that could barely sustain life and a year of endless subjugation was all for this single moment. The captain looks up with a soft smile as narration says he overcame trials of love from royalty and commoners alike. Staring at the distant royal capital, the captain vows internally that he will become happy. Inside the glittering throne room of castle, nobles whisper in disbelief that he survived that hell while he kneels before the throne. Kneeling on one knee with his sword planted, he formally announces that of the Northern Hawk Knights has returned from the long-distance subjugation mission. The king, smiling with his grand beard, tells to raise his face and praises the completion of a year-long mission. Humbly thanks him, thinking the king has been stressed by council politics and that it is a knight's duty to ease his sovereign's heart if even a little. The king suddenly says that is not quite right. Momentarily taken aback, hears that strictly speaking there is one exception. With a chilling stare, the king tells that he is already dead. From below, the throne stammers that he is in fact alive, while the king's attendants react in confusion. The king lets out an awkward ah as if remembering something unpleasant. Bowing deeply, the king apologizes, while explodes in disbelief at this sudden turn. Guards rush forward as demands to know what the king means, and someone shouts for him not to approach the king any further. The king, stopping the guards, says it is natural for it to be upset and orders someone to read the document aloud. Two crossed polearms bars path as an official begins reading a decree about his actions in the recent battle and his punishment. Sweats in shock as the decree continues that his engagement to the third princess is hereby annulled. He stands frozen with his sword, wondering what is happening right now. The king asks the knight captain if he and are already no longer together. The king then mutters that perhaps this is actually for his own good. Someone anxiously asks if something happened to the princess and urges that this is no joke. Suddenly grips a courtier's face, shocking him into a stutter. Holding the man's face in a crushing grip, growls that this is going too far after he has risked his life for the kingdom countless times. He presses harder and warns that if they ever trample on him inside the castle again, he will kill them all even if he vomits blood while cutting them down non-stop. From the throne, the king says he is not asking for thanks or anything like that. Glares and demands that they tell him what they are hiding from him. Night falls over a quiet street, a tavern sign swaying under the moonlight. Inside, the returning Northern Hawk Knights shout that it is a feast and toast loudly as they guzzle delicious alcohol. A tipsy blushes and says the captain sure is something, while another knight laughs that it is their first drink together in a year. Sitting alone on his bed with his sword nearby, thinks the guys probably believe he is flirting with the princess right now, unaware of the top secret truth about the third princess. He remembers being told that Lady is pregnant and that she has already become engaged to a new partner. His clenched hand trembles on the bed as if struggling to control his rage. A group of armored knights slam him to the ground and pin him there with spears as he groans. One knight apologetically says, "It is a shame, Captain," but they did not want to see such a pathetic sight from their former commander. Two guards gossip that her new partner is some lecherous palace count, snickering spitefully. In darkness, a bitter thought snarls that it does not matter, anyone will do. Two robed schemers chuckle that perhaps the princess herself invited that man. Another black panel states that he never wanted to hear such a story. Back in his room, slashes the wall and window open and storms out into the night. He walks away thinking about how he had chosen noble blood over status or fame, only for his 20-plus years as a knight who dedicated his life as sword and shield to end life. Panting and sweating on the street, he thinks this feeling has not come since the first time he killed a person, and that he cannot even laugh. Birds chirp peacefully around a grand mansion as morning light shines. Inside the ornate mansion hall, a decorative mirror crashes down with a loud clang. A carriage and horse wait outside a large gate as a cloaked figure approaches the entrance. The cloaked man exhales and says, "All right, let us go," while a soft voice calls him brother. He pulls his hood back slightly and turns in surprise, eyes widening. A beautiful girl with long hair and teary eyes stares at him and softly calls him brother. Recognizing her, he murmurs under his breath. Standing a little apart, accuses him of being cruel for never visiting even once though she waited, and now he is leaving again. Apologizes and explains that as of yesterday he was dismissed as knight captain and plans to retreat to the countryside for a slow life. Gasps in shock, unable to finish her words. She then yells that she never heard about this and demands why he was fired from the knight order. Flustered, she says that is not the point and anxiously asks what will happen to the knights and everyone else, while he says not to worry because we'll handle things. Looking down sadly, she mentions that besides they still have the reliable childhood friend who is a saint, leaving her stunned. Under his hood says he is sorry, but he cannot tell her the reason. He thinks that if he told the truth he would drag into it, and when she asks where he is heading now, he answers. At the mention of, she repeats the name in disbelief, calling it that damn backwater village on the northern border where his former lot. After a pause, he smiles gently and says he understands, then asks if she wants to go together. She looks down silently, gripping her dress as if conflicted. With a faint smile as he turns away, he says it is just a joke and that this is for the best. As his wagon rolls away, narration states that has turned out to be a cheating prostitute, and he casually says goodbye. Watching the wheel turn, narration adds that his childhood friend is kind and a good person, and that is enough reason for him to abandon the kingdom. Looking back at the shrinking royal capital, he thinks farewell capital, he will probably never set foot there again. From far away, angry curses echo that the bastard should die, while someone vows to kill the enemies on the next journey, shouting insults into the mountain. Riding hard on his horse, shouts in surprise as the animal whinnies and the cart lurches. Near a cliff edge, the horse trembles, while he mutters that they have come to quite an isolated and unpopular place. He glances back with a puzzled expression as if sensing something. Hearing distant screams, he asks what that sound is and wonders if it is a cry of sorrow. Down in the forest, two kids ready their weapons and tell each other not to look away as they face laughing bandits closing in. The bandits, tongues lolling, shout to capture the children alive because killing them is forbidden by the boss's order. The boy pants that it is no good and he cannot endure any longer while the girl trembles beside him, surrounded by sneering thugs. He squeezes his eyes shut and screams in terror. A bandit in the dark squints and comments that it suddenly got pretty dark. Drops down dramatically from above, cloak billowing as he lands in front of them. A massive lightning-like strike slams into the ground, sending debris flying and bandits screaming in agony. The boy hugs the girl tightly as they are blown back by the shockwave raining down around them. The stunned bandits stare at the cloaked figure who descended from above and shout in confusion about something falling down. One bandit rushes him, yelling what the hell he thinks he is doing as Blade flashes. Pushes back his hood and casually scratches his head, speaking as if this is no big deal. The muscular bandit gapes in fear and confusion, managing only a stunned A as he finally sees fate. Swings his sword in a huge arc, instantly mowing down the charging bandits while the kids watch in stunned awe. A bald bandit spits blood and curses their rotten luck as his body is sliced apart in an instant. Surrounded by impaled bandits and crackling energy, declares in irritation that he is in a really bad mood right now. Standing in front of the trembling twins, sheathes his sword and asks if they now understand the pain of being cut by others. He suddenly crouches down, clutching his arm, bawling that he is actually the one in pain while the kids stare at him awkwardly. The girl and boy exchange glances, musing that so this is what a knight who protects princesses is like, half impressed and half uneasy. With a small smile under his hood, tells them not to die and turns his back on the siblings huddled together. The boy, sweating in disbelief, exclaims that the old guy took out all those enemies in a single strike. As walks away, the girl runs after him, calling out to Meg while her brother looks on. Catching up, the girl reaches toward him and calls out Mister with bright, earnest eyes. Her gaze sparkles up close, cheeks flushed as she looks at him with open admiration. Sweating nervously, thinks that these eyes cannot possibly mean what he fears and urges himself to stop imagining things. Walking alongside them, he asks if, looking closely, they might actually be siblings and whether they have been alone together, until now as narration warns him not to trust others because it only leads to betrayal. In a dim palace corridor, strides toward a door calling a good-natured fool while her footsteps echo sharp. Inside the chamber, she rushes to the man in front of her, breathless and saying she wanted to see him, while a guard warns her not to touch His Majesty's body as the queen calls out. Laughing softly, the king leans back into his embrace and tells her to just call him, while she complains about unending problems like state affairs, finances, and military supply. He lifts a finger and says that if only that man were here, referring to that strongest of all nightcaps. His eyes darken as she replies that the matter of that worthless man who died so pathetically does not concern them anymore. Back in the present, blushes and awkwardly reaches a hand out, asking the girl if she wants to come along with her big brother figure. Narration over a barren mountain range explains that somewhere there was a knight captain who fought for the kingdom, while his companion grumbles about how long until they arrive. It recounts that one day, when that knight captain hurried home from a life or death mission, he found his remote house in the valley. When he finally arrived, someone praised the land as wonderful while another person cheered about this being their new base. As narration says, he was banished from the kingdom and lost everything. Stands sweating in front of a lonely house beneath a towering peak inn, exclaiming how freezing this remote borderland. Inside the dusty manor, he and the twins stare around as he comments that it is big, while they add that it is shabby and smells moldy. Narration describes how the kingdom's compensation to him was this worthless, dried-up land and centuries-old crumbling noble mansion. Meg tightens a kerchief around her head with fiery determination, announcing that she will immediately become useful as, and Bill exclaim in surprise. Grins at Bill, telling him they are going too, while Meg dashes off with broom in hand to start cleaning at high speed. Cleaning near a window, Meg mutters that 30 minutes have passed even though they have barely finished one room, while someone reminds her to hurry because she is supposed to be working too. Resting a hoe on his shoulder with a satisfied smile, proclaims that reclamation begins now. He and Bill gaze over the endless wasteland, saying they will plow all around here into fields while Bill cries out at how vast. Swinging his hoe energetically, says to leave the gloomy talk behind and shouts for them to get going. His hoe bites into the hard ground with force as narration declares that from here begins the second life of the former strongest nightcap. Suddenly another hoe crashes against his in midair, sparks flying as their blades clap. Bill charges recklessly at with his hoe, yelling as Meg watches from a distance and calmly avoids every wild swing. Panting and trembling, Bill stares at his wooden pole and gasps that he has not managed to land even a single hit. Glances back and asks Meg what is wrong, wondering if she plans to just stand there watching. Meg grips her staff, eyes darting nervously as she steels herself and starts to move. The twins shout together with shining eyes, begging Big Brother to teach them swordsmanship and magic. Narration jumps back 1 month to when had just saved the lives of these 2 children by pure chance. It introduces the boy as Bill and the girl as Meg, 14-year-old twins who lost their parents and now want enough strength to live on their own. Proposes a deal that he will teach them the basics of sword and magic if they provide labor, assigning Bill heavy work and Meg house. Thinking that for now he should refrain from unnecessary finances and that everyone has things they do not want to talk about, quietly ties up a pouch. As he drinks water by the horse, Meg hesitantly calls out that she has something else to say. Blushing, she stammers that although she has no experience with night duties, she will do her best, causing Bill to spit his drink in shock. Flustered and bonked on the head, tells her to relax because there is no way he will do anything like that to someone as young as. Later, Meg thrusts out her staff and nervously says she is going for it as glowing spheres of magic gather at her command. Her spell erupts into a towering spiral of flames as she cries out the name of her fireball attack. Watches impressed, hoe in hand, while Bill stands behind him as if stunned by the magical power. Seeing an opening, Bill charges forward from behind with his practice weapon, shouting that he has found a gap. With fierce determination, Bill and Rush side by side, their hoes raised in a dramatic 2-man assault. A sweeping wave of flame suddenly roars past Bill, and making exclaim in shock and wonder when the attack got behind them. Bill reaches toward the out-of-control fireball with a panicked cry, his face twisted in horror. The fireball slams into the ground with an explosive roar as a shriek echoes through the air. Afterward, tells them that is enough for now and that their combo attack was not bad, noting they are growing, while a charred Bill smokes on the ground. Bill, lying scorched, yells that the master is too strong for them to feel any growth, while comments that Bill simply wastes too many movements. Facing them seriously, explains that as twins they can coordinate better than others, complement each other's weaknesses, and become rich together if they trust and work hard. The twins respond with shining eyes and a loud cheer while he solemnly raises his hand like a command. He declares that today's training is over as narration marvels that the man who once survived deadly battlefields now spends peaceful days plowing fields with young kids. Walking back toward the house with hose and staff in hand, he muses that this kind of leisurely life is not bad, then notices a distant figure and wonders if that is a person. As the figure draws closer and reaches out, a soft voice calls him Big Brother. Beams brightly in a travel cloak, joyfully exclaiming that she came all the way here as shouts her name in disbelief. Narration states that childhood friend has come as she and face each other in front of the house, while the twins watch from behind. The twins whisper together, asking if she is their master's acquaintance as they peek at the beautiful woman sitting nearby. They mutter suspiciously that in less than a month he has already brought back such a cute girl, feeling the ground shake with their jealousy. Looms over with an angelic smile and dark aura, saying this is quite a carefree slow life he is enjoying, while the kids think that is terrifying. Laughing sweetly, introduces herself as, explains she has been with her brother since childhood, and even in the night order they were always together, revealing herself as the possessive sister. Inside, Meg nervously introduces herself and Bill, explaining that saved them from danger and gave them a place to stay, while coos that they are cute and asks them to get along with her. Protests that she should not try to act superior to kids as a saint, and demands to know why she came, while she says what comes next is already decided. With hearts floating around her, announces that starting today she will live together with him here and asks for his favor, leaving him shouting in shock. Erupts in frustration, yelling about what she means by quitting the night order, how the order and the queen are doing, and demands that she return to the capital, which leaves the twins overwhelmed. Looks up with teary eyes and quietly says that he is being cruel. Collapsing onto the table sobbing, she cries that it is awful because he passionately invited her to come live with him, so she left her and cannot go back now. Meg tries to calm her, saying respectfully that even for their master this excuse is too flimsy, while Whale's asking if he is really the bad one here. Night falls over the mountain range, stars twinkling above the quiet frontier. Pouring tea into cups, softly says that she wants him to at least answer this one thing. Face serious, she asks why he left the army and why everyone is being told he died even though a hero captain, suddenly quitting, has thrown the capital into chaos. Stares at his cup and says that it is not such a complicated story. Across the table, he calmly explains that he was cheated on and that the princess already has another man's child in her belly. Grips her cup and stammers that this cannot be true, while he replies that if it were a lie, he wishes it were so. Looking grim, recounts that even though they decided it would be too disgraceful if the cheated on knight captain lived, so they labeled him war dead and engaged the princess to the noble she betrayed him. Slams the table and shouts that she cannot forgive them for pushing all the misfortune onto her brother. From the doorway, the twins whisper that should calm down or the kids will wake up, even though they admit it really is terrible. Raises her staff with crazed determination, vowing to use all her power as a saint to curse that entire cheating couple, while screams that she is terrified. He hurriedly tries to stop her, warning that if such a curse is discovered she will be executed, and demands to know what she is thinking, while she protests weakly. Terror streaming, insists that it is just too awful to leave things like that. Watches her sadly and asks why she is the one crying. With a tight close-up, says that it is not just for her brother's sake, that she herself also feels this pain. Her hand gently covers his, fingers trembling as she squeezes it. Looking straight at him, says he looks incredibly tired and that what he really needs is the warmth of another person, so she wants to stay by his side. From the crack in the door, the twins blush furiously, eyes bulging at the intimate scene. Gazes up at him with flushed cheeks and softly breathes his name. Outside the door, the twins bicker as Bill complains he cannot see and tells Meg to move, while she hisses that they should not make so much noise. Inside, and suddenly find their faces inches apart, both blushing and frozen. Apologizes too, saying that the scream they just heard must be from the kids, and he needs to go check on them. He thinks to himself that gentle can never ignore the weak, and that if she saw him now, she would definitely reach out to help, which he feared. With a serious face, admits he is afraid, that he does not want to be betrayed again nor betray even once, and that he fears having someone touch his soft, vulnerable part. Answers with a gentle smile, telling him to go, and he remembers how the princess never once smiled at him like that. His eyes sharpen as narration adds that this world clearly has no intention of letting him relax. The front door bursts open to reveal a collapsed figure, and exclaims that something has fallen inside while others wonder if it is a human. On the floor lies an unconscious girl with animal ears, drenched in sweat and breathing shallow. Kneels by the collapsed and explains that this girl is from the fox tribe, while Meg nervously wonders if she is really a fox. Close on her sweating face, notes her fluffy tail and big ears as the defining traits of a fox tribe demi-human. Narration recalls rumors that the reclusive, human-hating fox tribe lived deep in the surrounding forest and wonders why one of them has come all the way to a human house. Judges that her wounds are deep and says this is bad if they leave her like this, so he orders to handle anesthesia and healing while she answers briskly. As leans in, the fox girl suddenly snaps awake and lunges up with a feral snarl, startling. Exclaims in shock that she moved and is alive, while the twins scream behind him as she grabs at him and yells for him to let her go. With fangs bared and bangs shadowing her eyes, the fox girl growls at them. Tears welling up, she screams that humans suddenly attacked her village and calls them bastards for invading. Notices her tears and tells her to wait and calm down, but she thrashes, shouting at him not to touch her, to let go and get lost. A sudden blunt impact lands on her head, cutting off the struggle. Stands holding her staff and announces cheerfully that the anesthesia is complete as the fox girl reels with swirly eyes and stars. Meg whispers worriedly that anesthetic might be too strong, while narration explains that on the way to they heard of demi-humans living deep in the forest who rarely dealt with people. Later, with the fox girl lying on the ground and everyone gathered, asks to cast a tracking spell on this girl. Finishes her healing and asks if her brother intends to follow the fox tribe's trail. Grips his sword and remembers that when he came to this frontier, he decided something. Smirking back over his shoulder, he declares that he will eliminate every single thing that might disturb his slow life. A volley of magic arrows erupts forward at terrifying speed. Some of the barbarian raiders look down in horror at the arrows embedded uselessly in their chest. Fox tribe warriors stare ahead in shock as projectiles streak past. A huge, bald bandit swings his club and sends a fox warrior flying with blood spraying. Amid burning huts, the raiders howl with laughter as they shout to steal, devour, and slaughter everything. Their leader bellows that women and brats must not be killed because fox tribe kids especially sell for a high price. Back in the forest, Scroop hears distant crazed laughter, and he says it must be around here since the idiot voices carry this far. Bill protests that they might die coming along, but insists they want to be useful too, while grumbles about them tagging along. Peers ahead and comments that the enemy numbers are huge, perhaps around 100, and asks what he will do. Narrows his eyes, thinking these guys look oddly familiar from somewhere. On his back, the fox girl suddenly wakes and chokeholds him, shocking. Grinding her teeth, she demands to know what this human is plotting, snarls that even if he is not with the other humans, she will not borrow a human's hand, and orders him to go home. The twins freak out that she moved and is alive while cries for her brother to stop because she is scary, and raises his hands to restrain the wriggling girl. Grabs her by the scruff and lifts her up as she yelps in surprise. He calmly says he thought she might die, while she roars that it hurts, calls him a pervy old man, and screams for him to stop touching her and let go. And the twins rush forward in a panic as finally releases her, and she tumbles to the ground. The twins lean close and tells them they have an important mission, entrusting them with watching this big sister and ordering them not to move from here. With his back turned, admits he cannot trust humans either, but says that for today he wants this human favor repaid with human hands, asking her to understand. He then strides toward the blazing village, telling he will go on ahead and asking her to handle support as she shouts in alarm about what they will do against that many enemies. Spots the spell scroll in his hand and exclaims in surprise about that incantation paper. Tears open the scroll and recites for the sealed flame to answer his call and become the breath of crimson lotus in his hand. Inside the village, some raiders sneer at a begging fox tribesman and mockingly ask if he is only now pleading for his life. Appears floating in the sky, glowing with gathered power in his outstretched hand. Nearby raiders leer at captive fox women, saying they have no interest in old men and only want the girl. The spell name Firestorm Activation flashes as the magic ignites. Bandits boast that they will show their victims a parting gift from hell that even babies would stop crying for, then suddenly notice something above. A colossal torrent of flame roars down from the sky, sending the raiders screaming as they are swept away. More bandits gape in terror and shout that fire has suddenly burst forth everywhere. Fox tribe villagers clutch each other and call to their village chief, wondering in disbelief whose magic this is. One scorched bandit staggers and mutters that, as expected of the royal capital's magic corps officer, the cursed scrolls with the princess's seal were worth stealing. Glares coldly and says he will settle everything before morning because today is the day for burning trap. Elsewhere, panting raiders close in on a fox family, saying they cannot hold back any longer and that the prey can no longer escape. Two of the brutes argue with grins about who gets first pick, saying the fastest one wins, just before something slashes between their faces. Steps forward with sword drawn, saying he remembers that face because this is the guy who used to bully his Bill and Meg. He kneels to the frightened fox family and asks if they are okay and can walk, while they shakily thank him, and he urges them to run first and save talk for later. Behind him, the surviving bandits yell in rage, demanding to know who he is and if he was the one using that fire magic earlier. One of them charges from behind, swinging an axe while yawns lazily, making the man scream at him to say something. From a distance, flames rumble and one fox villager gasps that it has begun. Back at the cliff, Bill worries to Meg about their master and if enemies might come here, but she tells him to calm down because they were ordered not to move as the fox girl sulks tied up between them. The fox girl glares stubbornly with her arms crossed, clearly thinking but conflicted. Suddenly she bolts, sprinting away from the twins as they shout in surprise. She crashes through the underbrush and grits her teeth, determined to go protect her people despite the earlier warning. In a clearing, she skids to a halt, terrified, as two hulking bandits loom over her and exclaim that they have found a female fox tribe brat plus some human kid. On the battlefield, casts healing magic over an injured fox father, promising the boy his dad will be fine and urging him to run quick. Stands amid chaos, ordering everyone to evacuate upwind where the fire will not reach, telling able-bodied men not to break the defensive line and instead shield the evacuee. Two fox elders watch him in awe, wondering who that man is and concluding he does not seem to be their enemy. Strides forward and shouts for the fighting to stop right there as fox warriors and bandits alike face. The bandit chief grabs the fox girl in one huge hand and the twins in the other arm, yelling that is the one interfering with them and snarling that if he moves their brats will die. And several fox villagers push through the crowd, horrified as they recognize the captured children. Raises both hands slowly, offering no resistance. The bandits jeer that he should stay still like that and mock him for coming alone, confident they can now handle him as they please.